business owner get millions of dollars in lines of credit. But today we're going to talk about the unknown millions and millions and millions of dollars that most business owners don't know. And you would say, well, why don't they know about it? Well, because most business owners are working on their business. Instead of have their business working, they're working on it. Well, today's businesses, especially if you can make sales, here's the unknown millions that most people don't know about. It's called factors. You know what a factor is? And I'll explain it to you. A factor will actually take your sale and advance you cash on it ahead of time. And there's another part of factor you may not know about, but the other part of factoring is also known as the purchase order factor. So let me give you a quick example of how it works and why it's beneficial to you and why millions and millions of dollars are being missed out on this. The fashion industry uses this pretty effectively, but most people don't. So let's say you have a great idea. We'll call it widget A. Okay, so widget A is produced by your company. You take it out to the marketplace and you get orders for it. Your customer's going, wow, this is fantastic, I'll pay for you. So they gave you a contract. And it says, as soon as we get it, we'll pay you for it. So now you have 100,000 orders that you have for this thing. You're like, man, okay, but I don't have enough capital. We're only 6 people, and how am I going to get this thing manufactured? What am I going to do? I don't have the money. Oh, now's this go. Oh, wow. So that's why I'm here to help you. That's why you hired us. Anyway, so what we're going to do is we're going to talk with the factor company. We're going to take all the contracts and we're going to go to the factor and say, you know something? Here are the orders. Let's say for 100,000. So let's say it's $5 an order. So it's $500,000. What the factor will do, they'll look at it, call each one of the customers up, make sure that it's verified and that it's a true contract. And after they say, yes, it is, the factor will say, oh, okay, this is great. They'll advance you 80% of the value of that contract within 72 hours. Think about that. So that means on a contract of $500,000, they'll give you $400,000 wired to your account to help you manufacture that product. And you may be like, wow, that's fantastic. But Charles, the profit margin is very slim, or the profit margin is not enough. We need to have enough so we can manufacture. Hold up, not a problem. What you're going to do then is that you need a purchase order. And what a purchase order means is that as soon as you get that order from the client and you don't have the money, you need to have the thing manufactured. So now what we do is we sit down with the factor who does purchase orders and say, okay, we can go to the factory, we can have it manufactured, but we don't have enough to get it back into the country. We got to pay the factory off. Can you help us? And the customer says, oh, you'll do a purchase order as long as the revenues are there and as long as the profit margin is there. One of my good friends in the past, I didn't know anything about this. He had instructed me about this because guys were making like millions and millions of dollars by using purchase orders and then factoring as soon as it hits the States. So let's say they had a widget. The widget would be, they would get the order for it, but they didn't have the money for it. The manufacturer didn't have the money for it. So they would take the order, take it to the factor, then they get a purchase order. The purchase order allows the manufacturer to get paid. As soon as the manufacturer makes the item, ships to, let's say, Hong Kong, the factory takes possession of that product from Hong Kong, ships it to the customers, and they write a check to the people, the owner of the company, all along the process, minus their fee. So if you have let's say for a product that's $10, the factory may end up with about 20% of that. But as long as the profit margins are there on the product, 20% is nothing, especially if you have to front your own capital. That's nothing. You can take that all day long. If I'm going to make $10 million this year and I don't have to use my own capital, you get $2 million, I get responsible for the 8, my fee for myself all day long. And that's the role of the factor. Most companies don't know anything about that. They're trying to struggle, they're trying to do everything themselves, but one of the industries that I'm proud of and I learned a lot from was the fashion industry, because this is what the fashion industry does a lot. They don't have the capital, they have to be quick moving to manufacture all these products in different parts of the world, from Bangladesh to China to Vietnam and everything else. They don't have the capital. They'll go with a purchase order because their profit margins are so big. And see, that's why it's good as a business owner, you want to really think about your profit margins, because if you're not large enough profit margins, you can have a purchase order to a factor and they'll factor out everything else and they'll take their fee, but they're using their capital in order to grow your business. And guess what? You don't even have to go to a bank because they're usually non-bank. They're just larger financial institutions. And there are many companies out there, if you can go ahead and Google. One of the companies that I like is Riviera Finance. It's a great company located in Los Angeles, California. Again, you can look it up online at Riviera Finance, and I'm going to include the link below. The minimum they start with is at least a $10,000 order, and they can tell you and instruct you on how factoring works. In fact, today what I'm going to do also, part below in the PDF, besides becoming bank compliant, I'll have a listing of some factors. I'll have a listing of explanations about what factor does and a better explanation about purchase orders, because a lot of people don't understand purchase orders, but it's really, really important when you're growing your business to use other people's money, OPM. Number two, not to constrict yourself trying to do everything with your own capital, because your own personal capital will run out. It happens every time because there's too many unknown factors. Be smart about how you set your company up. Be smart about the money that you use. There's millions and millions, we're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars used through factoring and with purchase orders. In fact, that's how businesses grow really, really big, because they use purchase orders, and then they go to the open market and they'll have an IPO, or they'll get a huge line of credit, let's say 25 million, and they don't have to use the factor anymore. They don't have to use for the purchase order anymore because they've got such a large line of credit, because they've grown their business so much, they've increased their capital, they can use other means. And you want to get to that point also. But I think for a small business owner, medium-sized business owner, they don't know anything about purchase orders. So that's why I provided free information below. If you want help to grow your businesses with capital, lines of credit, those types of things, give me a call at charles@businessdata123.com or info@businessdata123.com, or our website, which is businessdata123.com. The name of our company is called Business Data Consulting. I'm here to help you. Check out our other videos. We have about 50 to 70 different videos up. Make sure you become bank compliant. Open that door for you. And one of the things I want to say to everyone is that I don't want everyone to see you use your own money for your business. It's good to start out with maybe $5,000 or $10,000 to get started. But in order to achieve your dreams, your hopes, to keep your family together, don't take your money and just stick into a business. Here's a quick point. If you have $100,000, $250,000, what you want to do, you want to stick it into a trust account or a secured CD account with, like I said, Charles Schwab, TD Ameritrade, or some other institution. You want to use that as a reference point when you're building your lines of credit. So if you go to a Bank of America, Chase, a Wells Fargo, a Citibank, and they'll say, yeah, I want to get a business line of credit. You can say, yeah, but I have $200,000 in this account and I don't plan on using that. I want a line of credit, and they'll go over it up because they're like fees and everything. And they're like, okay, yeah, we can give you a $50,000 initially, your line of credit, maybe $100,000. It usually, just depends. But this is why you hire us. This is why we can do that work for you. And in doing that, it will save the family. It will save you. And let's say that you can't pay the money back. You can start negotiating on paying the money back slowly. But guess what? You can go to your wife. She goes, where's $200,000? Oh, $200,000 is right there in the TD Ameritrade account. She looked in and said, okay, just want to make sure. And that way there's not that frosty relationship in your family, or with if you borrow the money from your parents. You want to make sure that you do things very smartly. Again, you've heard this term before, OPM, other people's money. Anyway, reach out to me, charles@businessdata123.com, info@businessdata123.com, and watch the other videos. Thank you so much for your time, and look forward to working with you. Have a great